Okay, just like the title says, today I'm going to explain to you guys how you can make $8,000 a month building fence by yourself, only working on fences 8 to 12 days a month. Now that is $8,000 take-home pay. That's after setting aside money for taxes, after setting aside money for profit for a business, setting aside money for all these different things you need. Take-home pay, $8,000 a month. Working on fences only 8 to 12 days per month. Is it necessarily as easy as it sounds? Well, you have to keep watching and I'll explain. Now, my plan for a lot of these videos is not to do a whole lot of editing. Mainly because that takes a lot of time and I don't have a ton of time. Now, I've got a little extra time this week, so I think I will experiment a little on the editing with this video. Not anything crazy, but I'm gonna try out a little intro here. Tell me if it's dumb. Tell me if you like it. I may never do it again. I may start doing it on all of them. Who knows? But I like to mess around with this stuff, and I think it's kind of fun. So I'm going to throw it in right here.
Yeah. This is the life of a working man, trying to do the best he can. Family, faith, and bills to pay, building a dream day by day. I'll work with my hands, and I'll walk by faith. I'll serve where I can, and I'll run my race. Be alive and see the light. This is my story, my journey to eternity.
Okay, now to explain how this process would work, making $8,000 per month, disposable income, building fence by yourself. So for this example, I'm going to use a 200-foot standard fence. So let's take 200 feet of fence. Okay, for this example, I'm going to say we're going to charge $33 per linear foot. Okay, so 200 feet of fence, $33 per linear foot. That's $6,600. That is what you have to work with on this job. What are you going to spend on material? Well, in this area, what I can get material for, I might spend probably about $2,700 on material. That is everything I need. So $2,700 in material, that's going to leave me with $3,900 in gross profit. All right, so from there, now remember, you're doing this fence by yourself. You don't have guys helping you. You're not paying labor or anything like that. So now I'm going to take out $50 for fuel. I'm going to take out $50 for tool wear and tear. Then I'm going to set aside just another $100 for miscellaneous. That leaves you at $3,700. Job's done, okay? Now I'm going to speak from my experience right now. I've been doing this for about 10 years. I've gotten pretty good at building fences. I can probably get that done in 2 days, no problem, okay? If I wanted to, I could get it done in one long day. But for this example, let's say 2 to 3 days of working time. Now, the job is done. You have $3,700 left. You got to pay taxes on that money. If you're working as a freelance fence builder, you have your own business, that homeowner who pays you is not going to withhold taxes from that payment. You have to set aside taxes to pay the government from that money, okay? In this scenario, to keep it simple, I'm going to say we set aside $1,000 for taxes. That's about 27% of that $3,700, all right? So $1,000 set aside for taxes, and then I'm going to set aside $400 into a business profit account, all right? That's roughly 11% of that $3,700, okay? That leaves us with $2,300. From that $2,300 that we have left over, I'm going to set aside $300 for business expenses, okay? We have $2,000 left. That is our take-home pay. How many weeks are in a month? You got 4 weeks in a month. So if you work 2 days each week, one time a week, complete 4 jobs just like this in a month, $2,000 each job each week, that's $8,000. So all this said and done, you got $8,000 take-home pay. You got $4,000 set aside for your tax bill. You got $1,600 per month you're setting aside into a profit account. That's money you do not touch. And then you have $1,200 going into your overhead and growth fund. That is a pretty basic, pretty simple example of what you can do building fences. Now, that $33 a foot, that is probably, I would say, lower than average for a quality fence builder in this area. In time, I'm going to book out further and further and further. And as I do that, I don't have to compromise as much. You know, I've got more people coming in, more people wanting to book me because I do good work. And then I can actually charge what I'm worth. Okay, so in my ideal scenario, when I'm booking out further, I am probably, right now in this moment, I would probably be charging somewhere closer to $40 to $45 per foot on a fence like this. This is what I think I would need to fund a living wage for myself and to give my business room to grow. And a lot of the good quality fence companies out there, they're charging $40 per foot on these fences, and they're doing plenty of them. If you take this exact example and you bump that from $33 per foot up to $40 per foot, you've got $10,600 of take-home pay. You've got $5,500 set aside into a tax account to pay your tax bill. You've got $2,200 set aside into a business profit account that's just going to build over time. And you have $2,000 a month that you're going to be putting into overhead and growth of your business every single month. That is what you have. Huge difference. You know, for me, this is just the example I'm using. There's different ways you can do this, but this just shows you that if you put in a little work, if you learn how to do this stuff, there's money in it. Now, is this getting me rich working by myself as a freelance fence builder? No, it's never going to get me rich. I'm bottlenecked at how much I can grow working by myself. But you have full control of your life. You have flexibility. You're not working for an employer who controls your schedule, who has all these different demands of you. You get to control your own schedule. The work is rewarding. It is awesome. For me, it is awesome to build a beautiful fence and stand there and look and say, there was nothing here before and now look what we've got. That is a rewarding job. It's definitely something worth doing, okay? A lot of people nowadays are not very physically active. You get a lot of physical exercise. You get a lot of mental exercise too, because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things, a lot of problem solving on the job, a lot of stuff that goes into it that exercises your mind, keeps you sharp. It's good for you both ways, mental and physical, okay? You learn some invaluable skills. Building a fence, it's fairly simple. If you've never handled a tool before, maybe it's not so simple for you, but you can learn it. It's not that hard to learn. You practice it, you get good at using these tools, and those skills will overlap into other areas of your life. You can fix stuff around the house. You can do more things, and it is a very valuable skill set to have, okay? If you ever decided you wanted to grow, a fence business is very scalable, okay? Go around in any major city, drive around, see how many neighborhoods with how many houses are in each neighborhood. There are a lot of houses, a lot of fences. There's plenty of work out there. So those are a few reasons why I think it's well worth doing something like this. I personally, even though I've had countless financial struggles, I have personally loved working for myself. It comes with a lot of uncertainty, but it is well worth it, in my opinion. Now, is it as easy as that? Is it as easy as just getting 4 jobs a month, working 2 days a week on those 4 jobs, making all this money and living a good life? Well, no, not really, okay? Some of the problems that you're going to run into. First off, if you've never done this before, the knowledge and experience it takes to build a good fence. I'm not about going out there charging any kind of money for a job and not giving a good product to that customer. So you need to know what you're doing. You need to get some practice. Another problem. This is a problem I'm struggling with right now that I am trying to figure out, that I'm going to continue sharing on how I solve this problem. It is getting jobs, the whole marketing part of this thing. Marketing is not a skill I have ever had. Sales is not a skill I have ever had. Those are skills that I am currently developing. While doing 4 jobs a month indefinitely and making this money sounds great, getting those 4 jobs a month is not as easy as it sounds. Now, another thing, job site conditions. Not every job is going to be simple, easy, straightforward like what I described. You're going to run into a lot of problems on a lot of jobs that are going to put hiccups in your plan, make things take longer, so on and so forth. That's something you have to get good at, is recognizing those things so you can make sure you work that into your bid on the front end and not have to either eat it on the back end or change your numbers on the back end with the customer, because that never makes a customer happy. Okay, so you got that. You have schedule conflicts. But maybe you're out of town for a week and you got a whole week. That's 25% of your pay you're missing right there if you're counting on that, okay? So there's things that come up that prevent you from getting those jobs done every single week like that when you're working by yourself. You got weather, you got getting sick, same things that can cause you to not work. If you do not work when you're working by yourself, nobody works, no money's coming in. Now, here's a big one that I have not mentioned. I mentioned working 2 or 3 days on those jobs each week, and that's all it takes to get these jobs done and make this money. Well, that's partially true. On the actual job, you're working 2, 3 days, whatever, to get that job done. There is a lot of work on the back end that's not counted in that. You know, you have to go out to customers, look at their jobs, measure jobs, quote jobs. You got to keep your books. You got to invoice people. You got to put together your ads, your marketing, all this stuff. There's a lot of back end stuff that needs done that when you're working by yourself, you have to do it. And then lastly, if you're doing this, whether it's a big business or a little small freelance business like this, you are a business owner, and as a business owner, there are always things on your mind, always things that you have to work on. You are pretty much always on the clock, and trying to manage your work with your family life and creating a good balance is not always as easy as it might seem. I know for me, I have to sacrifice a lot of work that I think I should do or even want to do to be able to spend time with my kids, give my family my time as well. Can it be done? Yes. Should you do it? Some people, I would say absolutely. Some people, I would say absolutely not. Only you can decide what works for you, what works for your life, your schedule, your family. But there is money in this, and it is worth doing if you're willing to put in the work and be patient and do it right. So, I hope that helps somebody. This is also kind of, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know, you might be wondering how I plan to get out of the hole I'm in. Well, this is an example of why I think I can get out of it in time. I don't plan to work this by myself forever. I plan to do it for a while as I build up my customer base. As I start booking my schedule out a little further and further, I'm going to look to start hiring people to help me. That is my plan. I hope to scale this. I don't plan to scale it like crazy. I don't want to be huge, but I'd love to have a small business that can function without me. And so I'm going to continue to pursue this, and I'm going to continue to document this on this YouTube channel in hopes that it helps me, you know, be accountable to the things I say I'm going to do, and hopefully that it helps other people who are in similar situations or who are thinking about doing something similar to this. I just want to encourage people, and I want to be transparent with my life. But if you have any questions or anything else you want to see, give me, leave some comments, whatever. I'd appreciate if more people would subscribe to this channel, because that just encourages me to keep going. It shows me that people care and are watching. That's all I've got on this. I'll do another one soon. I hope y'all enjoyed this. This is fun. Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And I'll run my race, be alive, and see the light. This is my story, my journey to eternity.